Hey guys, Max here from Cumana. Um, in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how an SEO company will try to impress you, sell you, how they're going to try to close you, and how to kind of mm, avoid being starstruck and kind of focus more on the facts of the situation. SEO companies are just like any other business. They're probably just like you in the sense that they know that there are certain accolades and things like that which a prospective client will look for, and they use them, leverage them just like anyone else. The purpose of this video is to help you understand that so you don't get lost in all that and focus more on the hard facts of what they're saying. So one of the first things that almost any SEO company will try to do is use complex jargon terms like search engine marketing and direct market, blah, and whatever, pay-per-click, CPC, whatever. Um, the issue is certain terms have to be used because they're industry terms, and it's hard to talk about something without saying the name of the damn thing. That's fine, and you shouldn't get too stressed out about that. Well, if you are ever confused about what it means, just write down the term and Google it later or while you're speaking to the consultant. There's so many free resources out there that all have glossaries that you can kind of see what the term is and see what the English definition of that term means. But the issue is, certain companies will try to use these terms as a way to impress you and as a way for you to feel secure that you can work with them and that they know what they're doing and so on and so forth. Um, a lot of them will try to string it along in a long sentence, and you'll be sitting there wondering what the hell just happened. But hey, they must know what they're talking about because they're using all these nice words. So just like anything else, don't be impressed by that. Hate to say it, but it's just air. If someone's doing that, ask them to speak in terms that you can understand. And if they still refuse to, it means that they're either bullshit artists or they might just not be the best salesmen. But at the very least, ask them to stop and speak in English terms, or um, you know, Google the term. If it's a few terms here and there, Google them. But this is definitely indicative of what you could expect later on. And if you can't speak to them right now when they're trying to convince you to work with them, what do you think is going to happen when you actually work with them? It's a bit of a catch situation. So I would either refrain from working with them or ask them to speak in English terms. um, it's definitely what certain companies will do though to impress you and make it so you focus on these abstract things rather than the meat and potatoes of any campaign, which is how they're going to make you more money. The next thing that an SEO company might do is they'll brag about results to impress you. So what they'll do is topically they'll say, hey, we work with this guy, that guy, and they won't go into more detail than that. They'll just say that, and you'll be impressed. Here's the issue: in the SEO industry and in the marketing industry in general, a lot of agencies partner up with each other in order to flow work back to each other, and sometimes an agency will give a kickback to another agency if they give them a referral. As a result, it's pretty common for SEO companies to say they worked for a client and not actually work for the client. What they do is they put in their portfolio the work of their partner agency. So it'll be the guy down the road, the web design agency down the road, who did work for Lufthansa, and the SEO agency, because they're in partnership with this other company, will say that, oh yeah, Lufthansa is one of our clients. Um, I hate to say it, but it happens more than anyone would like to admit. And so make sure that when someone talks about, when an SEO company brags about their portfolio, make sure that they're actually their own clients. Hate to say it, but if you narrow down the field to 3 SEO companies, things like this are going to help you. And so look at the list of clients that they're bragging about and try to confirm that they actually worked for them. Um, and more importantly, see if they're still working with the client, because a lot of people will say, hey, we worked with XYZ, but if you ask them whether are you still working with this company, they'll say no. And you'll be like, okay, so why? And so it oftentimes the issue will be the client got penalized, or the client, or they didn't generate a lot of results for the client. There could be 100 different reasons, but you should ask, because it'll lead you to find out more information. Um, in many cases, because clients don't ask, they don't get the full truth, and so definitely ask. Um, insist on speaking with the client, get a firsthand recommendation from the client, and about their experience, and so on and so forth. The next thing that we sometimes see is fake awards, fake. Sometimes you'll see companies put as seen on logos of the Wall Street Journal, CNN, and meanwhile they haven't even been featured on their local newspaper in their local town. Many firms leverage these awards and media appearances in order to make themselves look more trustworthy. Um, if you see a company doing this, you should definitely Google their name, because most of the time, if they've been featured on Mashable or CNN, that article, because it's on CNN and has their company name, will probably appear pretty close to page one if you Google them. If you Google them and you can't see anything, if the company you're speaking to is called DirectX, and you type in DirectX or DirectX reviews or something like that, and you don't see any of that media, you should be curious as to why. And so I typically recommend that you ask the company to send examples of where they were mentioned in the media, just to make sure they're being honest with you. Because if they're not being honest with you, then you have to wonder what else are they lying about. In this day and age, as an SEO company, the number one best award you can have is the Google partnership, because it's an award from Google itself that, not an award, but you're essentially a partner, meaning someone on your team took some tests, and you were given that status. Now the cool thing is, with uh, the Google partnership thing, you can actually go to Google's website um, and see the company's profile there. Google partnership is similar to like the Better Business Bureau, where everyone who's there has a profile and is verified. So if you go to the Google partnership website, type in the company's name, you'll see if they are in fact a partner or not. And so a lot of what I'm trying to hint at is that people in companies, SEO companies, will lie about certain things. It's your job, should be your job as someone who is going to be investing tens of thousands of dollars to verify some of this. And a lot of this can be done straight through a Google search, but these are some of the things that they'll lie about in order to woo you into working with them. The next thing that an SEO company will do is they'll send you all sorts of reports and audits. Now, what's the point of these reports? Besides telling you what's wrong with your website, they want to make it look like they spent a lot of time researching and that you're important to them. The issue is these reports are generated by an automated tool. The tool has a checklist of criteria that it looks at the website against, and it's pretty much automated. There's actually no work involved besides sending you an email. So it'll look impressive. It'll be 20 pages long with all sorts of graphs, but there's really no value in there. In many cases, we've seen people send us reports and then not even know what the hell's written on the report, because all they did was package it and send it to us. They didn't actually read it. So the point of this is what an SEO company will do to close you, because they're going to make it look like they invested all this time and that you're important. The point of the SEO report is to make it look like there's a lot of things wrong with your website. And the fact that they identified it is proof that they can help you solve it. So a lot of times we'll see a lot of businesses immediately pull the trigger on hiring an SEO company because they get this automated report with all sorts of red, boxes that, oh, this isn't done, that's not done, this isn't done. And then when we look at it, it's like, oh, well, most of the stuff is not really important or whatever. So remain in control. Don't be impulsive when you get these reports. The point of these reports is to make you feel like your business is going to crash and that you have to work with this SEO company immediately. Otherwise, you're in danger. Most of these reports are automated. There is no actual work done. So the best way to see if a vendor actually looked at the report or had any input on it or did anything with it is, to pick up the phone and start asking the vendor questions about certain elements listed on the title, so on the report. So, for example, if they're saying that, your meta tag description isn't there, ask them, say there's 30 pages, talk to them about what the meta tag description would look like for all these different pages and what they would do. This type of pointed question forces them to, at the very least, give you some honest remarks, and at the very least forces them into a corner. And how they react, so if they stumble on themselves, they can't answer questions, it means that this is their first time actually looking at the report. um, Many of these reports look really brilliant, but most of the time they're automated. So I wouldn't get starstruck and dazzled by these reports. They're pretty standard. And the next thing that an SEO company will do in order to close you is they might offer you a money back guarantee of some sort. Now, let me talk to you about why they do this. The SEO industry has gotten a bad reputation. There's a lot of unsavory vendors out there that you know don't really do what they say, or they overestimate their own capabilities, or whatever. What these vendors will do is they'll offer a money back guarantee. The issue is it'll rarely be a 100% money back guarantee. It'll be a nominal guarantee, maybe 5%, 10%, 15%. So what they're doing is they're trying to offer you this guarantee to work with them, and some people will jump at it, but even if they give you 10% of your money back, if they do, you're still out, 90%. It's a lot of money, depending on how much money you spent. And so they'll try to lure you in with this. And in most cases that I've seen a money back guarantee, it's impossible to actually get the guarantee to work. Uh, Often we'll hear of representatives, sales guys saying one thing over the phone and on an email, and then the contract will have some really crazy fine print. So, for example, they'll say that you have to ask for a refund within 60 days. Meanwhile, they're telling you to wait for 90 days um, as a part of your campaign. They'll have all these really minutia clauses in there, but these clauses will make it very difficult for you to actually get your money back, if not impossible. In some cases, we've seen money back guarantees, but certain elements can't be refunded. So they'll give you a money back guarantee on the time that they spent. I mean, they have all these tricks and ways. So typically speaking, if you go to any of the reputable companies out there, SEO.com, so on and so forth, or any of the vendors, typically, you won't even see a money back guarantee. It's normally the ones that are really desperate for work, or the ones that um, are trying to have this edge on the competition, and they're trying really hard. So I would be very careful about a money back guarantee. I'd be nervous. I wouldn't trust it, and I would definitely trust. I would definitely verify every single element of it. So if they're representing the money back guarantee a certain way, you should get them to email you how the guarantee works in exact writing in an email. You should speak to them over the phone and record the conversation, just as a double authentication thing of the guarantee being what it is. And you should make sure the contract says whatever you assume it to say. Um, if the contract reads in any other manner than what you were led to believe it would say, um, don't assume, sometimes what they'll say is, well, no, that's what it means, but this or that. They'll try to mislead you or misguide you, and they'll try to say, oh, no, it's actually fine. That's how it's supposed to say, because that's the legal terms. Don't believe it. Make sure it says exactly what they're promising you. In some cases, what we've seen is we've advised customers to actually, take the money back guarantee that the vendor promised them in an email format and copy and paste that same thing in the contract. And if they say no to that, then it means they're being dishonest. Um, but in general, these are some of the ways that an SEO company is going to try to sell you, close you. They'll talk about their company and how reputable it is, but they'll assume that you won't verify it. So you have to verify all that stuff. They'll try to tell you their clientele and their results they got. But again, you have to verify that in order to believe them. And they'll talk about a money back guarantee or a risk-free trial, but again, Most mainstream companies don't offer this, so I'd be very nervous, and I'd want to guarantee and verify that this is actually the truth. Um, so that concludes that component of this video. For the most part, we're done talking about all the different ways that they'll try to sell you. I encourage you to read our SEO pricing guide that kind of discusses this and a lot of other things in greater detail. Um, there are other videos to accompany this as a part of the SEO pricing guide, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.